would be brought under some kind of control, and that would be 1,000 years of peace. And then they would start coming again from Western Asia, the Assyrians, now called Syrians, the Iranians, then called Persians, then a Greek called Alexander. Some people thought he was great, but for what, I don't know.
The shameful end to his 31-year reign foreshadowed troubled and chaotic times for Egypt.
After Ramses III and his successors, you get this period of political breakup and social stress. There are still Egyptian pharaohs, but they seem to be much less in control of the situation. You have the country itself dividing up into several kingdoms with several pharaohs ruling at the same time.
Scholars suggest that Egypt was failing for yet another reason.
Egypt is no longer confined to the narrow Seti Valley of the Nile. There are other great empires rising, not least, of course, over in Assyria, and we're into the last 1,000 years BC. So the whole thing is a state of flux. So Egypt is no longer top of the pile, top dog, and she is suffering.
Over the next 800 years, nearly 70 rulers from 11 new dynasties would govern Egypt. They included Libyan, Nubian, Syrian, and Persian conquerors. Egypt was under the domination of the Persians when, in the year 333 BC, they were compelled to face one of the most formidable military commanders in history, Alexander the Great.
Here comes the first known European in the continent of Africa, in Egypt, known to us today as Alexander the Greek. At that point, after that, those Greeks came into Egypt and in other parts of Africa. After Alexander came in, then other Europeans out of the Slavic areas of Europe, Bulgaria, Yugoslavia, Albania, Hungary, etc., came into the continent of Africa. Okay, they are known in history as the Parthians, etc., etc. The Europeans, after Alexander the Greek, and the other Europeans coming thereafter, and the Ptolemies, who ruled Egypt after the death of Alexander, who died in 323. The Ptolemies took over the rule of Egypt.
Now, what I'm showing you right here, these is the cartouches on the Ptolemaic temples, the temples that were constructed under the Greeks and the Romans. Now, what is significant about that, now these temples were built by the African priests, but the one thing that they did, they left their cartouches blank. Why did they leave the cartouches blank? Because they sending us the knowledge that they did not respect the Greeks or the Romans that had conquered our land. That right there lets us know. When you go to the walls and you see our divine African kings and queens, you'll see the metal now carved in the cartouche, what they call a chenu. Okay? That one right there is blank. So I'm going to continue to show. Right here, they're blank. They're blank for a reason. Because they did not accept the conquerors as the true kings and royalty that should be ruling in Africa. They let us know. They left signs and symbols for us to always remember.
Alexander's invasion was the first purely European invasion of Africa. Everything that had happened in Egypt and in Africa before 332 BC was something that no European had anything to do with. Now we see the beginning of European occupation, and we see it as aggression, not bringing civilization, but destroying civilization that it did not understand.
The Egyptians kept the Greeks out for all that long. They only came through conquest. They were never allowed in. If you read the Stolen Legacy, it would tell you that the Egyptians blocked the Greeks from ever coming into Egypt until it was conquered by the Persians. And then that's when they came in. Other than that, the Africans kept them motherfuckers over there. They did not let them in. And you must remember that. See, these is off the tombs of our ancestors. This is when the Asians come in. And when they, even though our brothers and sisters was building these tombs to let us know they didn't care a damn thing about them, you see the cartouches are blank. They didn't respect them. You had to go through the mystery system 42 years. No, 40. From 7 to 47. And it was a secret language. Indeed it was. Another cartouche. When the Asians came in, here you go, some more empty cartouches. So that you know, all of them is Greeks and Romans. That's original material. That's what our ancestors left for us. They did not respect the foreigners. They did not get any knowledge about a Kemet. Because if they did, they wouldn't be asking why and how. They wouldn't know. Now these is you can tell, these is the Greco-Romans. These are what you find down in Lower Kemet. Okay? See that? You ain't rocking no shit like that. And look at the blue eyes and shit. You can tell them. You understand what I'm saying? So they hide that from us. They hide that from us. They don't make the comparisons like that. So you can see the difference between the European. Now, when the Greeks came into Egypt, where did they set up? They set up right there on the Mediterranean at Alexandria. Why did they do that? Because the Africans hated their ass. They couldn't come down south. Now these is you can tell, these is the Greco-Romans. These are what you find down in Lower Kemet. Okay? See that? You ain't rocking no shit like that. And look at the blue eyes and shit. You can tell them. You understand what I'm saying? So they hide that from us. They don't make the comparisons like that. So you can see the difference between the European. Now these is you can tell, these is the Greco-Romans. These is what you find down in Lower Kemet. Okay? See that? You ain't rocking no shit like that. And look at the blue eyes and shit. You can tell them. You understand what I'm saying? So they hide that from us. They don't make the comparisons like that. So you can see the difference between the European. Now these is you can tell, these is the Greco-Romans. These are what you find down in Lower Kemet. Okay? See that? You ain't rocking no shit like that. And look at the blue eyes and shit. You can tell them. You understand what I'm saying? So they hide that from us. They don't make the comparisons like that. So you can see the difference between the European.
Now, these images that they showing right now, if they put this at the bottom of the museum, because if they ever put this on a showcase, the lie be over with. Okay? The lie be over with. See, just like the brother said, they don't want to show you the difference between an African and a Greek. These is the only so-called white people, like Dr. Clark would say, that was in the area at that time. So who the real Egyptian? Monoliths and all of this. Greeks and Romans and all of this. They mixed. They were mixed with African people, you could tell. And then the child that they would have would mate back with his father's people, which was Arab looking. You see what these people look like? They don't look like the people on the wall. Now I'm going to show you the Africans though. Jump out!
See that? They ain't rocking no shit like that. And look at the blue eyes. You can tell. You understand what I'm saying?
Look at every last one of them. You can tell they're European. They don't never want to show this. Why? Because the lie be over with. Okay?
Now these is you can tell these is the Greek, the Greco-Romans. These are what you find down in Lower Kenya. Okay? See that? You ain't rocking no shit like that. And look at the blue eyes and shit. You can tell. You understand what I'm saying? So they hide that from us. They don't make comparisons like that. So you can see the difference between European.
On documentaries and stuff, why they never show this? Because if they show you this, the lie be over with. You see the people on the wall?
That the site is from one of the least documented eras, the Greek and Roman period. At the tail end of ancient Egypt in the 4th century BC, a new era began. Alexander the Great swept through Egypt, bringing more than 3 centuries of Greek rule, which only ended with the dramatic suicide of Queen Cleopatra as Roman legion advanced. The Romans then ruled for almost 4 centuries. Both Greeks and Romans picked up on Egyptian culture, building temples in the ancient fashion, portraying their rulers as pharaohs. Oases like Bahariya were the breadbaskets of those empires, growing dates and grapes for export to faraway Rome and Athens. Soldiers built garrisons across the desert and manned forts to keep these trade routes open.
The Greeks ruled didn't last that long before they were challenged. An ambitious and well-dressed bunch of thugs across the ocean, not very educated, but they could fight like hell, called Romans, began to have ambition for the trade in the Mediterranean. Now, the Roman Empire internally was not very rich. Africa became the breadbasket for the Roman Empire. And except for Africa, the Roman Empire would not have been able to sell. Now, the Roman presence in North Africa is going to force into being one of the great events in human history. Roman taxation, Roman oppression would cause people to turn to new gods and question old gods.
The Greek-Roman period is very dark to us, especially in Egypt. The great mystery of these excavations are the tombs that were excavating, Greek tombs or Roman tombs.
But much of the sadness here lies hidden behind beautiful masks, adorned with images of the dead.
I can see with each mummy that each one has realistic face, representing the same person. Because that is the face that he is going to be in the afterlife, and therefore it should be preserved. This is typical type of a lady that she died before she get married, and therefore they put her as if she is going to meet the groom.
And the mask here is in very good condition, and we think that he is a 7 years old boy or 6 years old boy.
I looked at each mummy here. I can see something different, and each mummy can tell us the story. You see now, this shape is completely Greek, but this shape is Roman. This is like treasure to us. That tells us now that this cemetery started in the Greek period, continued until the Roman period, but the majority of the mummies that we discover are dated to the Roman period.
Both Greeks and Romans picked up on Egyptian culture, building temples in the ancient fashion, portraying their rulers as pharaohs.
Herodotus blatantly stated